Make a simple CMA for a property. So this can either be for your buyers or your sellers to figure out how to price it, or again for your buyers to see if the property that they're interested in is priced correctly. And it'll give you a good idea on what type of an offer to put in. So you want to start with your property. Off the bat, you want to copy the MLS number. And we're going to press on MLS subscriber info. Once you get to the agent report, you see all of the information. Now you want to study this property, right? You want to see what it looks like on the inside. Is it renovated? Is it, read the description. This says it's updated. It's in a cul-de-sac, remodeled in 2020. You want to keep all of these things in mind when you're comparing properties. And once you do that, you want to press on CMA. Now this is where it's going to ask you for contacts. Now this is going to be whoever you're preparing this CMA for. I'm going to choose myself. You're going to select pages, where you're going to click on cover, subject, comparables, and static. And this is going to be a very thorough CMA. And then you're going to press on subjects, and this is where you're going to paste that MLS form and you're going to fill. And here is your subject property. As you can see, all of the details makes it a lot easier than to enter everything manually. Then you're going to go to cover, and you're going to see your cover. You have your contact information. This is going to be in the front. It's going to look very professional. And then you have your cover photo and your contacts information, which is going to be your client. So one thing you want to pay attention to is the square footage of the subject property. So we're going to say about 2,400. You have 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. What you want to do is go to add from listings. This is what you will see. So we're going to start from the left. Off the bat, you want to select sold within the last 180 days. Why do we only do CMAs and we compare it to sold properties? Well, if the property hasn't sold, how can you be sure that it's priced correctly? So you always want to choose sold properties. And for the distance, you want to be within 0.5, maximum a mile away from the subject property, right? But please be mindful, because a lot of times, Houston looks so different from Houston. And we might be in one street and it's the most gorgeous street ever, and you go on to the next street and it looks nothing like where the property is, if that makes any sense. So even if you have to, I would say go on Google Earth, look around the area, just to make sure that staying within the same neighborhood, and kind of the same vibes. But my favorite way to search is with the subdivision. But again, keep in mind that sometimes in those specific subdivisions, there just might have not, no homes have sold within the last 180 days. So that's when you want to go into other options. So I'm gonna copy this subdivision and actually have it right here. And you're going to press that. Now you want to pay attention to the matches that you get. So far we have 9 matches, correct? So the next thing that we're going to filter is by square footage. So this property is about 2,400 square feet. The rule of thumb is you can be 500 off, whether 500 less or 500 more. So for this, we're going to go over here to square footage. We're going to put 1,900 to 2,900. And now we're down to 4 matches. Then you want to make sure if the property has a swimming pool, which this one doesn't, you want to make sure that you include it here, because swimming pools, change up the value of the property by some. So you want to select no if it's no, yes if it's yes. So far we have 4 matches. Now, if you end up having, way too many matches, you just want to continue filtering this until you have a good amount of matches, because if you have 100 matches, something's not right. So you want to go ahead and do that, and then we're going to press on results. And this is where you want to compare, right? So this one is actually on the same street as our subject property, and this one is a lease. So we're going to ignore this. And you want to compare the bedrooms. So as you guys can see, we have 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, pretty much the exact same as our subject property, this one as well. With this, you have the same amount of square footage, very close to the number. This one as well. This one is a little bit higher. So keep that in mind. And what you want to do is click on the MLS number and check out these properties. Like I mentioned, you want to look at your subject property and compare. See if one looks more outdated than the other. Look at the floors, look at the kitchen, look at the bathrooms. Obviously, this is a gorgeous home. Looks very well maintained. Looks very, very, very similar to our subject property. And you pretty much have the same amount of bedrooms, same amount of baths, and you are very, very, very close in the square footage. So this is a great comparison. So we're going to check this, and we're going to skip this, and we're going to get here. We're going to get to the next one. So as you guys can see, this is 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths as well. You have very similar square footage. And again, you want to check out the house. Again, 1 story, very well maintained. This looks renovated, bathrooms look gorgeous. Wow. So this is a great comparison with our subject property. So you want to select that, and then we're going to go to the next one, which is this one. Now keep in mind, this is a 2 story. And as you can see, it is bigger in square footage. It has 4 bedrooms and it has 3.5 baths. So we're going to take a look at it because, I mean, look at the price. That looks like it was listed a little bit lower. We're going to take a look at it, and you want to see like the floors look a little bit outdated. You can tell they could use some new flooring. Beautiful property though. As you can see, the kitchen looks very outdated, but it is a gorgeous property and it is 2 stories. As you can see, the bathrooms look quite outdated as well. This home looks like it hasn't really been touched since it was built. Comparison, because you're close in the square footage, you're close with the bathrooms and baths, and it is in the same area. So I'm also going to pick this one as well. And once you pick, we're at the last one. We have 3 checked out of 4. We're going to press add selected. And here is where you'll see your subject property, which is this one, 14215 Scarborough Fair Street, and then you have the 3 selected that you want to compare. Now, this is also a good chance for you to compare over here as well. You see the square footage comparison. This one is the closest to this. You can see the exact distance from the subject property, which is awesome. So after you see the maps and you check it out, scope the scene, you want to go to adjustments. And this is where it's basically going to show you, you see the low price, you have the median, average, and high. This is all good to keep in mind. Again, whether you're representing a seller or a buyer, this is very important. And then we're going to go to pricing. And again, this is basically what we saw in adjustment. So you have comparable price and you have adjusted comparable price. And you have median, which is 510, you have average, which is 513, and you have high, which is 530. And you're going to come down. Now, if you're preparing this for a seller, you can also leave a note as the suggested listing price. As you see here, you can say, I think we should list your house at whatever that is. And you can also leave some notes, which is cool. And then now we're going to press finish. And as you can see, this is our summary, and you want to click view CMA. Now this might take a little bit to generate. And then it will open up your CMA. So you have 39 pages. As I mentioned, this is a very thorough CMA. You'll have your information on the front, which I think looks extremely professional, and it will go on and on. You have your comparative market analysis, CMA, duh, but you have all of this information. You have photos of the properties. You have their listing price. You have the listing dates, the sold dates, all of that good stuff. And this is extremely thorough. It also gives you graphs. So you have the CDMO graph. Over here, you have the price history charts. You have the price graph. This is extremely thorough. Or get this to your buyer, and never, ever, ever put in an offer without doing a CMA, and do not try to price a property without doing a CMA.